The final events of March are coming up soon in Pokémon GO, and in this video, I'm going to be covering everything you need to know to get the most out of them. Before we take a look at what's upcoming though, let's quickly recap the most recent events, as there were some really important Pokémon you might want to invest into. Timestamps, of course, are posted down below, so feel free to skip around as needed. Alright, so over the weekend we had two big events. The first one is Totodile Calm Day Classic. This brought back everyone's favorite crocodile Pokémon, which was also teased as one of the upcoming starter Pokémon in Legend ZA, the new Pokémon game releasing later this year. Now, if you evolved Totodile into Feraligatr during the event, you were able to get the exclusive moveset Hydro Cannon. This was a very important upgrade for this Pokemon, as it is much better than its non-legacy moveset Hydro Pump. Now, if you evolved a few high-level Feraligatr, you can use this as a budget water-type attacker with Waterfall plus Hydro Cannon, and if you didn't, well, it's not that big of a deal. Now, the main aspect of Feraligatr that was actually worth focusing on was not its raid relevance, but actually its PvP relevance, because in the Great League and the Ultra League metas, it is currently ranked in the top 10 for both of these right now, making it one of the best options available. For the ideal moveset, you want to go with Shadow Claw plus Hydro Cannon and Ice Beam. Now, we've covered PvP IVs many times on this channel, but for those of you unfamiliar, you essentially wanted to get low attack IVs and high defense and high stamina IVs, so hopefully you did evolve a few of these with those IV spreads. Now, for those of you out there who forgot to evolve Totodile into Feraligatr, or maybe you just didn't realize that you had a good IV spread for PvP, well, no worries, because actually during December Calm Day, you're going to have a second chance to get it with this moveset. So just make sure to double check your IV spreads before you transfer them, check if you have any good IV spreads for PvP, and then hold on to that until December, because then you can evolve it to get Hydro Cannon once again. Now, the other event that we had over the weekend was Mega Absol Raid Day. Now, during this event, Absol had the exclusive moveset Brutal Swing. This was a new addition to its move pool. Now, originally this was not going to be a legacy moveset, but Niantic decided to change that last minute. So I'm sure a lot of players out there were confused why they couldn't TM their old Absol after the event to get Brutal Swing, and that's the reason why. It's quite unfortunate that they did this, because I did want to get Brutal Swing on one of my older Absol, actually the one that I got shiny at GoFest 2019, but I just don't think it's worth the Elite TM. And I mean, I guess it could be, but let me explain things a bit more in detail regarding its meta relevance compared to some of the other top dark type attackers in the game. So with Brutal Swing on Mega Absol, this gets a nice upgrade from Dark Pulse. On the ER scale, this makes it the third best dark type attacker in the game, next to Mega Tyranitar and Shadow Tyranitar. But overall, it's actually the best DPS dark-type attacker in the game, so if you were going for faster win times, then Mega Absol will actually be preferred over Mega Tyranitar. Now, with that being said, if you wanted to focus on both fast damage as well as bulk, Mega Tyranitar is still going to be the king. On the ER scale, it's still much better than Mega Absol. Mega Tyranitar also doesn't require an Elite TM to get Brutal Swing, so there is that as well. So basically, when it comes down to it, if you already have a Mega Tyranitar built like myself, investing more resources into Mega Absol just doesn't seem worth it, especially since you don't need to use an Elite TM if you wanted to get Brutal Swing on an older one. Now, with that being said though, if you happen to get a good IV spread during the Raid Day event and you don't have access to Mega Tyranitar, this could be a good investment. One of my viewers also mentioned that Absol has been a lot more common in recent events, and I thought that was an excellent point. You guys might actually have a lot more candy on Absol compared to Tyranitar, for example, so this could be a good investment. I probably wouldn't take it to level 50 if I'm being honest, but then again, Mega Absol is the best DPS dark type attacker in the game, so it wouldn't be a bad idea either if you already have Brutal Swing from this event. At the end of the day, it's up to you. Both are going to be great dark type attackers to use in the game. I'm very curious to know what you're going to be doing moving forward, so let me know in the comment section down below. Now let's take a look at the final events for the month of March. The first one is going to be the Bug Out event from March 26th at 10 AM to March 30th at 8 PM. This event is going to feature the new Pokemon from Generation 8, Sizzlipede, and it's also going to have a Gigantamax form in the future when it evolves into Centiskorch. So grinding out the candy on this right now is going to be a solid investment for the future, because when it comes down to upgrading your max moves, it's entirely based on candy. The main way you can hunt this Pokemon from this event is going to be from 1-star raid battles and also from lure modules. Now, this event in particular is going to have a lot of amazing bonuses if I do say so myself. Let's take a look at those right now. The first bonus is going to be 2x catch experience on nice throws or better. You're also going to get increased candy and extra large candy for nice throws or better, so this is typically scaled as +1 on nice throws, +2 on great throws, and then +3 on excellent throws. I do have a guide video that goes over some of the best catch tricks to use during these types of events. I'm going to leave that linked on screen right now, as well as in the description down below. Now, additionally, lure modules are also going to attract Sizzlipede like I just mentioned, and you're going to get increased encounters at lure modules after a certain threshold. Now, unfortunately, the exact threshold was not mentioned, but essentially the more trainers catching focusing off a specific lure module, the faster you're going to reach this. We'll have to kind of wait and see how this actually looks like during the event, but typically if you can get like a couple trainers together, maybe have like a lure party going on, that would be the best way to really take advantage of this. I actually have one set up on Wednesday, so I'm looking forward to that myself. And then finally, we're going to have boosted shiny odds on shiny Wurmple and shiny Venipede. Now for those of you who don't know, shiny Wurmple actually has a split evolution. It can either evolve into Silcoon or into Cascoon. This will then evolve into Beautifly or into Dustox. Now I'm sure plenty of you guys out there struggle with this exact same problem, but I seem to get one over the other, so I'm hoping to get a few shiny Wurmple during this event and hopefully complete my entire set. Now as far as the wild encounters you guys can expect to see during this event, we're going to get access to Caterpie, Weedle, Wurmple, Nincada, Venipede, Dwebble, Joltik, Grubbin, Dewpider, and Nimble. And then for the rare Pokemon, we're going to get access to Cutiefly. Now Cutiefly is also going to have a spotlight hour on Tuesday, March 25th from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. In my opinion, this spotlight hour is probably one that I was gonna skip, but if you want to focus on this for the shiny variant, that's definitely something you guys can go for. The special bonus is going to be 2x catch experience, and honestly, Cutiefly is a really difficult Pokemon to get excellent throws on, so I wouldn't really recommend using Lucky Eggs on this spotlight hour specifically because it's going to be really hard to farm experience. You should go for excellent throws if you can, but using a Lucky Egg probably isn't going to be recommended. On top of that, Cutiefly and its evolution isn't going to be any good in raids or for PvP, so the only reason to really focus on the spotlight hour is if you want to get that shiny. Now from the field research tasks during this event, we're going to get access to some Mega Energy for certain Pokemon, Scatterbug Candy, and then also encounters with the event themed Pokemon. Unfortunately, those encounters were not mentioned on the blog post though. And then of course, like every event in Pokemon GO these days, we're going to have a paid timed research available for $2, which is going to award you with 1 lure module, 2 premium raid passes, those are going to be the green raid passes, and then encounters with Heracross, Sizzlipede, Cleaver, and more. Now, a lot of those Pokemon right there are not going to be featured during this event outside of raids, so if you wanted to get this just for those Pokemon, that could be decent, but all things considered, I think you get the value just from those premium raid passes alone. Of course, if you wanted to wait for like a box deal, you can usually get these for a much cheaper cost, but overall, I don't think this is really that terrible of a value. I think it's definitely on par, and you know, if you wanted to get it, that's great. If you don't want to get it, that's honestly something you don't need to really worry about. Next up, let's take a look at the available raid bosses we're going to have for the remainder of March and also for the rest of this event. So specifically from this event until March 30th, we're going to get access to Scyther, Nincada, and Sizzlipede in 1-star raids, and then from 3-star raids, we're going to get access to Beedrill, Scizor, and Cleaver. Now, honestly, none of these Pokemon are really worth focusing on except for maybe Sizzlipede and Cleaver. Cleaver is like a very exclusive Pokemon that has only been available from raids and I think maybe during like one other event in Pokemon GO. Could be wrong about that, but if you want to get the shiny for that, that's going to be what you want to focus on. And then Sizzlipede, of course, you want to focus on that for the candy mainly. The shiny form isn't going to be available during this event, but again, that Pokemon is also going to be available in lure modules, so I'd probably just stick to lure modules if you can. Once again, the lure party format is going to be optimal during this event. Now, as far as legendary raids go, which are going to be 5-star raid battles, we're going to have access to Heatran available until March 31st, so one day after this event actually ends. Now, we recently just had Shadow Heatran available in Giovanni a few months ago, and so if you happen to grab one of those, in my opinion, this is going to be a great time to farm some extra large candy for Heatran. Now, on top of that, Heatran also has some amazing relevance in the Open Master League right now, so even if you didn't get that Shadow variant, you still might want to use your free raid passes on this. It currently ranks in the top 50 right now with its signature moveset Magma Storm. The downside is that this rotation is not going to get access to this moveset, but if you happen to get the hundo, I think it's definitely worth using the Elite TM on it. Otherwise, I would just take advantage of this opportunity and farm some candy. Now, on the flip side of that, we're also going to get Mega Pinsir available in Mega Raids until March 31st, once again one day after this event actually ends, but I would definitely take advantage of it during the event for those extra candy bonuses. Mega Pinsir is going to be the second best Bug-type Mega in the game next to Mega Heracross, and if you happen to miss out on this during the last rotation, you definitely want to grab it this time around. It hasn't been available for quite some time, and personally speaking here, I have missed out on every opportunity since then, so I gotta grab this guy for my Mega Pokedex. I'm probably just gonna use 1 or 2 free passes to get the initial energy for this guy, and then I'm gonna use the rest of my free passes on Heatran to get more extra large candy. I'm probably gonna recommend the same, but if you want to try and go for that shiny variant, then definitely stick to Mega Pinsir. It has a pretty cool shiny. Now in max battles, there's gonna be one Pokemon that I highly recommend focusing on right now, and that's gonna be Dynamax Chansey. This is going to be one of the best Pokemon to use as a tank in max battles, and that's because when you evolve it into Blissey, this has one of the best HP stats in the entire game. So if you use Max Heal, this is going to heal all of your teammates' Pokemon like really well. Not to mention, just because it has such a high HP, it's going to tank pretty well. When it comes down to max battles, I think having a good tank Pokemon is just as important as having some good attackers available, and a lot of people out there do not have tanky Pokemon. The best tank in game right now before Dynamax Chansey and Blissey was Dynamax Metagross, and I still think that's one of the best Pokemon out there to invest into. But with Dynamax Chansey, I mean, I haven't personally tested this out myself, but I have been doing every Dynamax Chansey raid I possibly can. You can get about 2 to 3 of these done every single day if you maximize your MP correctly, and that's what I've personally been doing. I've gotten a few of these, none of them have been good so far, but I'm hoping to get a good IV spread, possibly even the elusive shiny form from these max battles. Those are so cool in my opinion. Dynamax Chansey is also a really easy Pokemon to take down because its attack stat isn't that good. It really doesn't do that much damage against your Pokemon, so just use whatever you have. You can probably get yourself a few of these, and then just mirror trade them with somebody else if you want to get a better IV spread if they end up being bad. That's most likely what I'm going to do because most of mine up to this point have been pretty bad IVs. And with that being said, that pretty much covers everything you guys need to know about in regards to the bug out event, but we still have one more event to go over, and that's going to be the Fuzzy Buddy Research Day on March 29th from 2 to 5 p.m. local time. This event is going to be focused on field research tasks focused on Teddiursa, Cubchoo, Pancham, and Stuffle. All of these Pokemon are going to have increased shiny odds during this event from those field research tasks. Now on top of those featured Pokemon, we're also going to get access to these following wild encounters: Sentret, Slackoth, Bidoof, Minccino, and Bunnelby. Most of them aren't really that good for anything, but some of them do have some relevance in various metas. Overall, just, make sure to have the auto catcher on while you're going through those field research tasks and you should be good. Now during this event, we're also going to have a paid timed research ticket for $2, surprise surprise, and this paid research ticket is actually kind of good in my opinion. And that's because you're going to get more encounters with a Pokemon of your choice from those featured 4 that I mentioned earlier. They haven't actually done something like this in the past, at least not to my knowledge, so I think this is actually kind of cool. Now, unfortunately, it wasn't stated how many encounters you're going to be getting, but it does mention you're going to have 2 sets of the featured Pokemon. So for example, the first set is going to be like one specific Pokemon that you pick, and the second can be another of those 4. I don't think it matters if you pick the same one twice, so if you're going for like a very specific shiny Pokemon, this is going to be a great way to give yourself some more chances, especially if you don't have that many Pokestops in your local area. Now, of course, if you guys do end up grinding hard enough during this event, you can probably get everything you want without actually needing to purchase this, but given the price point, it doesn't seem like a terrible ticket if you don't have that many Pokestops around you. So at the end of the day, I'll leave it up to you guys what you want to do. I do expect the April details to be announced soon in Pokemon GO, so you guys can expect a video covering all that in like the next week or so most likely. But for right now, best of luck out there during these events, and if you guys want to know what are the best Pokemon to power up and even lucky trade, then check out these videos next.